Michael Christopher Kijana Wamalwa was one of Kenya's most charismatic and influential politicians, remembered both for his dramatic rise to the vice presidency and for the controversies and unresolved questions that surrounded his career and death. His life ended suddenly on August 23, 2003, when he died while undergoing treatment at the Royal Free Hospital. At the time, he had served only 6 months as vice president of Kenya, having been appointed in January 2003 by Mwai Kibaki after the historic election victory of the National Rainbow Coalition, which ended the 40-year rule of Kenya African National Union. His death followed months of declining health that had generated intense public speculation. Many reputable sources and local television stations reported that he had suffered from kidney failure or chronic kidney disease. Other reports during his illness linked his condition to pancreatitis, gout caused by high uric acid levels, and severe chest infections. At the time, the British magazine The Economist controversially reported that his death might have been caused by complications related to HIV/AIDS, though this claim was never officially confirmed and remained widely disputed. In the months leading to his death, Wamalwa had been hospitalized several times in London, and his passing came only 3 months after his highly publicized wedding. Despite his reputation as a gentleman politician, Wamalwa's career was not free from controversy. One of the most significant disputes involved his role in the infamous Goldenberg scandal of the 1990s. As chairman of the Parliamentary Accounts Committee, he presided over investigations into the scandal, which had involved massive fraudulent export compensation payments. In 1995, his committee recommended that the government pay Kenya shillings 2.1 billion in compensation to businessman Kamlesh Patni, who was widely seen as the central figure in the scheme. The recommendation shocked many Kenyans because it appeared to contradict earlier findings that Patni was responsible for defrauding the state. As committee chairman, Wamalwa used his tie-breaking vote to support the decision, leading to accusations that members of the committee had been compromised. The controversy also created a major political rift within the opposition. Raila Odinga strongly opposed the committee's conclusions and later left the party, Forum for the Restoration of Democracy Kenya, commonly known as Ford Kenya, partly due to the dispute. Leadership struggles within Ford Kenya itself also defined part of Wamalwa's political career. After the death of Jaramogi Oginga Odinga in 1994, Wamalwa emerged as a leading contender for control of the party. His rivalry with Raila Odinga became intense and divisive, culminating in chaotic scenes during a 1996 reconciliation meeting at Thika Municipal Stadium, where supporters of the opposing factions clashed violently. Even after his death, Wamalwa's name continued to dominate headlines due to prolonged disputes over his estate. His widow, Yvonne Wamalwa, and her children became locked in a nearly 20-year legal battle with his older children over property, inheritance, and pension benefits. The conflict revolved around several issues, including whether Derek Mboya, Yvonne's son, whom Wamalwa had raised, should be recognized as a beneficiary of the estate. Wamalwa's eldest daughter, Alice Muthoni Wamalwa, challenged Derek's inheritance rights in court, arguing that he was not Wamalwa's biological son. However, earlier court rulings had already recognized Derek as a dependent. Another major dispute involved the family's home in Karen, Nairobi. The house had originally been valued at around Kenya shillings 51.4 million in the early 2000s. Wamalwa had paid Kenya shillings 19.5 million toward it before his death, after which the Kenyan government cleared the remaining Kenya shillings 31.9 million balance. Yvonne later argued that the property should not be considered part of the distributable estate, and instead left it to her own children in her will. Disagreements over the estate also led to the freezing of Wamalwa's government pension and a Kenya shillings 36.6 million gratuity for more than 15 years. The financial deadlock reportedly affected his youngest daughter, Michelle Chi-Chi Nafuna, who was forced to drop out of school for over a year due to lack of funds. There were also allegations of political interference in the inheritance battle. Some of Wamalwa's children accused their uncle, Eugene Wamalwa, of working with other relatives to disinherit them, although Eugene consistently denied those claims. The dispute was eventually resolved in July 2020 when the High Court ruled that the 5 surviving children should be recognized as equal beneficiaries. The court ordered that the family's land holdings be divided equally, giving each child approximately 10 acres from the combined estate. Ironically, despite having reached the second highest office in the country, Wamalwa was often described as Kenya's poorest vice president. Friends and colleagues said he prioritized generosity and philanthropy over personal wealth. At the time of his death, his estate included about Kenya shillings 3.4 million in cash found in his briefcase, government gratuity payments, a house in Karen, a residence in Kitale on 3.34 acres, 40 acres of land in Saboti, 8 acres in Milimani, Kitale, a 3.8-acre plot, and 2 apartments in Aquila Art Estate along Bagathi Road. Wamalwa's personal life had also attracted public fascination shortly before his death. On May 10, 2003, he married Yvonne Wamalwa in what was widely described as one of the most lavish weddings in modern Kenyan political history. The ceremony took place at St. Austin's Catholic Church and was attended by President Mwai Kibaki and First Lady Lucy Kibaki. Known for his eloquence, Wamalwa famously proposed to Yvonne in Shakespearean English, reflecting the charm and wit that had made him one of Kenya's most admired politicians. Tragically, their marriage lasted only about 3 months before his death. Michael Wamalwa had 6 children, including Michelle Chichi Nafuna, Derek Mboya, Alice Muthoni Wamalwa, Jabali Jacob Ravin, William Wamalwa, and William Samuel Wamalwa. He had been born on November 25, 1944, in Sosio Village near Kimilili in Bungoma District, Kenya, to William Wamalwa, an influential pre- and post-independence member of parliament and senator, and Esther Nekesa. He grew up in a large family with 17 siblings, among them his younger brother, Eugene Wamalwa, whom Michael reportedly helped raise after their father's death. He spent part of his childhood in Kitale, which later became his political base. His early education began at St. Joseph's Primary School, where he excelled academically and emerged as the best candidate in the Kenya African Preliminary Education Examination. He later attended Chiwoyet Secondary School before transferring to Strathmore School, where he served as head boy and earned recognition as the school's best debater. During this time, he also won a national essay competition that allowed him to represent Kenya at a Student United Nations Forum in the United States. In 1965, he was awarded a Commonwealth Scholarship to study law in the United Kingdom. He earned his Bachelor of Laws degree from Fast King's College London in 1968, followed by a Master of Laws from the London School of Economics in 1969. He completed his professional training at Lincoln's Inn, where he was called to the bar as a barrister in 1970. After returning to Kenya the same year, he began teaching law at the Thai University of Nairobi, educating a generation of students who would later become influential figures in Kenyan politics. Alongside his academic career, he managed his family's farms in the Kitale area and held corporate positions, including general manager of the Kenya Stone Mining Company and director of the Kenya-Japan Association. His political journey began when he first contested the Kitale West parliamentary seat in 1974 at the age of 30, though he was initially unsuccessful. He later won the seat in 1979, representing what later became Saboti constituency for many years. Between 1983 and 1988, he served as KANU parliamentary secretary. In the early 1990s, Wamalwa became one of the so-called Young Turks, advocating for multi-party democracy in Kenya. He helped establish Ford Kenya, and after the death of Jaramogi Oginga Odinga in 1994, he became the party's chairman and the leader of the official opposition in parliament. This long political journey eventually culminated in his appointment as Kenya's 8th vice president in January 2003. Though his tenure lasted only a few months before his untimely death, Michael Kijana Wamalwa left behind a complex legacy, remembered for his eloquence, generosity, and role in Kenya's democratic transition, yet also marked by political controversies and long-running family disputes that continued decades after he was gone.